Shazam!
Shazam.
Shazam.
It's another film in the venerable stable of DC Universe movies.
Whoa.
That's crazy, right?
What are your superpowers?
Superpowers, dude? I don't even know how to pee in this thing.
I enjoyed this film for the production aspects and the fact that it's David F. Sandberg behind the camera. I think that if it was just someone else, I would be like, this is really boring.
I liked some things about the film. I definitely liked that it tried, at least in parts, to be not a typical superhero movie.
That's what I enjoyed too. Yeah.
It had a lot of kid moments where how would a kid react to getting these powers? That was great.
Yeah. Like the first thing, let's go buy a beer.
Yeah.
That's great. This one is a little bit of a breath of fresh air because I feel like that David F. Sandberg just wanted to try to make it a little different. And I also enjoy that he's a horror director because that comes across so much in this film.
There's a couple of kind of violent moments.
Yeah, there are things in it where you're like, this is really in a movie like this, because you see the poster and it's like this guy in this bright red leotard
blowing some bubble gum.
Yeah, and he's got the giant lightning bolt on his chest, and you're like, this looks colorful and bright. And then you see the film like, wow, I haven't seen this since the 90s. When they actually wanted to scare the kids.
Yeah. I could have done without a couple of those violent scenes, honestly. So,
okay.
Really liked when it bucked tradition, when it had this kid is just kind of experimenting. He got these powers, but there's not an end of the world thing happening. It's just the stakes are small and relatable, which is actually a line from Hellboy that I kind of liked, where he says, I'd really prefer if the stakes were smaller and more relatable. And then they weren't for the rest of the movie. But this did. It was all about a small story, the kid's personal struggle, his personal dealing with his mom not wanting him. I liked that in general. I wish that it had bucked tradition a little more. It goes to the climax. It's kind of a typical superhero climax, I felt.
Yeah, the story itself is very run-of-the-mill.
Yeah.
The ingredients are there, but there's not enough of it. It's kind of like if you were having a soup and it's like, oh, I taste a dash of parsley.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
a little hint of something.
Yeah, it's a little hint, but you're not really getting the full effect of it. No, screw you. Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers.
Yeah. You have the bad guy, and they're doing, at the very end of the film, they're having their monologue, up in the air and all that. And then the guy's like, I'm going to destroy you. And then it cuts back to Shazam. Yeah, they're a mile apart, and then, it's up in the air, and then you cut to Shazam from his point of view, and he can't hear the monologue at all because they're up in the air.
Yeah.
I thought that was humorous.
I thought it was a great idea, but I felt like it wasn't
executed well?
No, because it keeps cutting back and forth between them.
It went along.
Yeah, it went a little too long, I thought.
Yeah, and there's just some other things like that. What would a kid do if he got superpowers? YouTube. Oh yeah, let's upload it to YouTube. Why not? Yeah.
I really liked a few scenes. I really liked the scene where Billy goes to find his mom, and he does find the mom.
Oh yeah.
And it's a real letdown. He's clearly so hopeful. He's like, hey, I'm your long lost son, but she doesn't want him. It's this deep hit. I thought that was really done well, because it wasn't the happy ending that you expect from a lot of movies. And it told an important message of your family is the people who care about you, not just your biological family.
Right.
But I definitely felt that the family was too perfect. This foster family was the idyllic.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
The most loving parents. All the kids are kind of quirky, kind of different, but they're all this beautiful, pretty big house. What's not to like? So I felt like Billy was kind of a jerk.
He did feel like a jerk.
He was unlikable,
yeah.
I thought, through most of the movie. Once he finally gets his head straight, nearly, okay, now he's going to be friends with them. So at the beginning, he's when he's getting his powers and he's experimenting with them with his brother, I thought that was fun because they're being friendly and getting along. So I felt they were going to start to build a connection, but then they have it develop so that he's not really into it anymore.
Yeah.
He's still saying, you're not really my family. I don't really like you. I'm like, dude, really? You just showed us that you were getting along really well and having fun together. I thought that would be the beginning of something that grows, but they just had him continually be a jerk. Yeah. So I found him unlikable. I'd say too unlikable, because I get that where he's coming from, in terms of feeling a distant and he tried to protect himself by not getting too close to these people because he's been to a lot of foster families. So that makes sense that it would be hard for him to connect with these
exactly.
people.
But we're never shown that from his point of view.
Yeah.
Because it's understandable. I've been through this so many times. I just don't want to deal with this anymore.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But
Yeah.
But we don't ever see him like writing in a diary about that or anything like that. Or...
Yeah, all we see is that he really wants to see his mom again, and then he doesn't want to get close to anybody no matter what. And but then he even had the scene where he's like trying to get close to the girl who's kind of got a crush on. Like that was kind of weird to me too. Remember, like
that actually happened?
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
It was so. I felt like they were selective with how he expressed his feelings. Because he saved the girl from getting hit by a car, and then he talks to her like.
Oh yeah.
But that's the girl who lives with him, who's like his foster sister. So it's like, well, you're cool hitting on her or like flirting with her, but you're not gonna. You're like too good for the rest of this perfect family. Like it didn't feel authentic to me. So I liked certain moments of it. I liked him learning his powers and what he would do with the powers as a kid.
Yeah.
I really liked the resolution of him meeting his real mom. And like I even liked when he gave all his foster sisters and brothers the powers. But kind of a lot of stuff around that felt...
It fell flat. Yeah, it wasn't strong enough. I feel like that David F. Sandberg doesn't really have the understanding of how to create strong characters that can carry the film throughout the entire film.
Yeah.
Because he's really used to making these shorts, which are good.
Right, because there's a lot of fun moments, I thought.
Yeah. There's a lot of fun stuff in it, and I know you didn't like the horror stuff, but for me, I really enjoyed that because, like, I don't know, it was just fun. Just all of a sudden, like, there's that one part where the monsters are killing all the board executives of his dad's company or whatever, and then you just see like the silhouette of people getting like torn apart. Like whoa, like that's the wow. Okay, I don't know. It felt like back in the '90s when they actually wanted you to like, I mean, '90s. I say '90s like when I was growing up.
Like '80s, '90s, like the movies that were dark for kids.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're like, yeah, we don't care. Like we're gonna try to scare you.
Yeah, no. So I think I agree with you there. I liked it aesthetically, but I didn't like it from a character perspective because it basically pigeonholed the bad guy into being this pitch black evil guy. There was no redemption.
Okay.
And like I just would have preferred him to have a different arc. It would have been more interesting.
Oh yeah.
So and to do that, you'd have to scale that back a little bit, at least with his direct involvement.
Right.
So that's really my main issue. So I did like it. Like I'm all for kids movies that are dark.
Yeah.
But
just the way it's executed.
Yeah.
It's not a strong story at all, and it's especially since the past Shazam guy who needs to pass on his powers to Billy. It's really weird because he says like I need someone who is pure of heart. And, we were just saying how Billy is not that likable of a character. He's a bit of a...
This is who you got, really?
Yeah, like, this is the guy who's pure of heart. I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of other people who are probably a lot better pure of heart, like...
Like, he's been using magic to try to find whoever's got the purest heart in the galaxy forever, and he can't find anybody? Like,
The movie opens up with, like, the backstory of the villain, and you kind of get the backstory of him and such.
And they really missed an opportunity there, because they start off making the villain relatable. They made him sympathetic.
Okay.
So he's this kid with a rough home life. He wants, and he feels even more crushed now that his dad sees nothing in him. His brother sees nothing, and now this like wizard also sees he's not good enough. Everyone's telling him he's not good enough. Even this like magical wizard who was about to give him these powers. That's wow. That's gotta hurt,
Yeah.
So I would have loved if instead of making him a more typical villain, they had turned him into a sympathetic character who might have a change of heart. Because really the bad guy in the movie are these like demons or the seven sins, right?
The seven sins.
Right,
yeah.
Those are the real bad guy who are kind of infesting him. There was even a moment where Shazam's like, hey, like we have the same kind of trauma here. We've dealt with similar kind of trauma. So like they could have had a connection where like, hey, I can help you redeem yourself. I can help you like, and for the guy to say, oh, you know what? You're right. Like maybe there's a different way to do things. Probably my favorite moment from Last Jedi, which is when Rey and Kylo team up to fight the dudes. Like, have a moment like that where you're not expecting them to team up and they do. And then they're like fighting that would have been much more refreshing to me to not just have the bad guy, he's going to
be a bad guy.
Yeah, just have him have a transition, have him have a development. Yeah. But to do that, you might have had to tweak a couple things, like instead of killing everybody in his father's company, just kill the father,
Right, yeah.
That seemed like too much to me. There was like, the biting their heads off and stuff, and that didn't fit. So aside from what I would have liked to see with the villain, like, what did you think of the villain as he was?
Boring.
Yeah, he had kind of a cool, I think, aesthetic. Like I think he looked kind of intimidating. Like
this bald guy. He's from Kingsman.
Yeah, with like kind of with like aviators and like a bomber jacket kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like there was a couple cool moments where like when he first meets Shazam, Shazam's like kind of like, oh, you want an autograph? And then he grabs like pulls a whip into the sky. It's like a cool visual thing. They build him up as like a master supervillain. Like, did you know actually this is Shazam's arch nemesis in the comics?
Really?
Did you know that?
No, I didn't know.
would never have guessed that from this
He
movie.
doesn't seem like an arch nemesis. He just seems like a villain of the week.
Yeah.
He doesn't feel like Thanos.
Right, but they bring him back, right? Because at the end of the movie, the end credit scene or whatever,
that caterpillar is just
the evil caterpillar comes and recruits him to be part of
like the League of Villains or something like that.
What is that? I don't know. Like, obviously, I don't know the comics, so I don't know. Like, I'm sure that is something.
But it's weird seeing it on screen when there's like this little evil robotic caterpillar.
I thought it was funny looking.
Not
like
not
ominous.
Yeah.
What makes this guy special? Like, he was just like a rich daddy's boy. Well, he got his money from his family, I guess, right?
Yeah,
That's why he was doing this research to find out how to get to the place. And then but after he lost all the spirits, he no longer has any superpowers. So why would they seek him out as some like bad guy to recruit? He's just some jerk, right?
Yeah.
Some jerk in jail who doesn't have his daddy's money anymore. Well, I don't see why he's a supervillain. I guess in the comics he's supposed to be like really smart and he's like a mad scientist kind of thing.
They didn't really play that up too much.
No.
It just kind of felt like that he paid a bunch of people to be smart for him.
Right.
Speaking of the climax, I didn't like how all of his siblings got powers too, because now
you
just kind of feels like, oh, now he's not that special. Like pure of heart, I need pure of heart, and then it's like, oh, all of you are pure of heart too. That means that any of them could have just been a pure of heart and gotten.
Yeah, none of them have any real like flaws.
When that happened, I just kind of wanted the movie to end. I was just like, oh, I don't want to see this now. I don't know. You liked it though?
I thought it was fun for the moment. I'm like, because you know when he realizes, oh, like. He realizes whatever the thing is about using the staff to share the powers, because he was going to use to share it with the bad guy, but he's like, oh wait, I can share it with my friends instead. So like, I thought that was fun. I wasn't too hung up on like the pure heart thing. Like, it's dumb, I agree, but whatever. So I thought it was fun that he did it, but I didn't want to see the whole battle scenes with them. Like,
I didn't either.
Just skip that.
I guess they all have different superpowers, but it just, I don't know, it just wasn't.
They seemed all the same to me. Like, I guess some of them were a little better at certain things, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Like one was running fast. I don't know. It wasn't interesting enough for me to stay around.
No. So yeah, I would have cut about 10 minutes of like that in the climax. The whole pure heart thing didn't work because there wasn't anything special about him in particular, and like his foster family had pure hearts they needed.
Yeah, right.
So like, what? You can't find them?
Oh my God, that makes so much more sense. His foster family is the purest of heart in the entire universe. Offer it to the dad and the mom.
Yeah. They're perfect people.
Yeah, that would have actually been better. Oh, no. Better movie. Okay, so what happens here is the foster parents get the power, the pass on to them, Shazam, and then they're like, we need to pass the power on to other kids, and then have the entire foster family be the Shazam people.
That would have been way better.
Yeah. The 7 sins were not creative looking.
No.
They were so generic.
Most boring gargoyle things you've ever seen.
Yeah.
It was like from a PS2 game or something.
It did, especially with the one that had like 4 arms on top of it. I kept on getting flashbacks to Mortal Kombat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And there was one scene where like they were trying to make him look intimidating, where one of the brothers who got the powers is like, oh, is that all you got? Because he's got like claws on his hand. And then it's a close up of the hand, and the claws like get a little bit longer. I'm like, that's pathetic looking. It's supposed to be scary though, because like, oh shoot, now you got really crazy claws. Not really. It's like they grew like an inch or something. It was really boring, really boring looking. So I thought it was fine. It was too long, and like the climax is dull. The main character not being likable was probably my biggest complaint.
Okay.
Because like he's the main character. Come on, like you got to make him someone that we want to see. I wanted to see everyone else really. I want to see. Him as Shazam was more fun.
Yeah, the character, him as Shazam is more fun because then you actually get to see what kids would do with superpowers.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm gonna make money on this. I'm gonna be a side street
He's
show
like busking.
person.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, exactly. He's just like throwing it, hey, and then like from his own ignorance, you know, he causes that bus to fall over. It's like, oh, that's interesting. It just needed more of that. I mean, it's it has a lot of interesting parts in it, and I think that it just needed to capitalize on those more and capitalize on what you were saying.
I mean, I actually think this might be Sandberg's most successful film. It's been doing pretty well in the box office. It hasn't been like the $1 billion hit or whatever.
Right.
But I mean, I think they've already got him on for the sequel.
Really?
Yeah, the writer and director back for the sequel. So
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think this would qualify as his first big success, commercially.
Yeah, exactly. And what's hilarious about it too is that he's known as a horror director, and he even said like, if this doesn't work out, then I'll just be like, well, I'm known as the horror guy, so I'll just not do that again.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. That's good for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will say that it's refreshing for what it is, though. It's nice to have a film like this and see them doing different things, because at least they're trying. Because everyone gives DC a lot of crap for all their films just being bad, but here is the thing: is that they're actually trying.
But I mean, I haven't seen Wonder Woman, which I think is the best reviewed.
Yeah,
DC movie.
I think that's
So I haven't seen that. I've seen all the others though, and I guess they're getting a little more fun now. Like Aquaman and this, like, it's more fun than the previous ones. Still not great.
Yeah.
Not anything to write home about, but I mean, you can spend your time worse. Like there are worse movies to watch.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, I give it a lukewarm recommendation. Like if you just want to, if you want like a fun like way to pass the time, like sure, it's not a bad choice compared to some of these other movies.
Yeah.
Like don't see Hellboy.
No, don't go see Hellboy. Okay. Yeah, I think that's a better way of putting it. Like I would much rather see Shazam than Hellboy.
Yeah. Yeah. Even you get a little bored here and there, but like,
yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's fine. It's fine.
Can leap tall buildings in a single bound.